All right. We're going to talk about President Trump's DEI executive orders, what they actually did. And here's one of the biggest things that we want to really focus on here. The chances that you are going to be affected by these executive orders, one way or another, is about 99%. 99%. And we're going to talk about how that is happening. I'm going to talk about how I've already got clients that are falling like flies. All right. And we're going to talk about, I just love this because I really do want to welcome the DEI experts. I welcome you. I've been trying to get DEI re-engineered for years. DEI has personally destroyed my professional life. Absolutely. For well over a decade now. Okay, and how is that? Well, how could that hurt you? Okay, we'd really like to have you in here. We read your book, we've seen your presentation, but we need somebody who's Black. We need a minority. Okay, why are we here? We are here, and this is your first poll. Okay, I want your feedback. How many people think that we should treat each other like fellow human beings, and discrimination and racism and bigotry should not exist in our organizations? Give you my thumb up there. Getting some good support here from Danielle and everybody else. Yep. Okay. There are a lot of things that are in these programs that people don't even think are illegal. Actually, it was amazing earlier this week. And I'll tell you, every day there's something else on the Washington Post, the New York Times, some article somewhere is coming up. And I think it was the New York Times that said, what exactly is illegal about DEI? Okay. Me complaining about illegal tactics. Me complaining about stereotyping anybody, including white people, about racism, about all these things. And let me tell you, I have been doing diversity training for 25 years. I mean, as a professional presenter, and I've spoken at 25 of these conferences. Okay, actually about 20 years I've been presenting. So actually 23 years, but who cares? I got a best-selling book. I have never, ever in my life ever seen a diversity, DEI, equity, inclusion, belonging conference where a speaker didn't get up and tell you what to do. That's illegal. Teaching illegal tactics. And the problem is the teacher didn't know that. And I've never seen a DEI, diversity, whatever you want to call it, program where it wasn't illegal. All right. So we've talked about that in former groups, former sessions, but this is what is a driving force for these executive orders. Now, we need to have diversity programs. We need to have programs for all humans. And so I got canceled. For all the stuff I'm going to show you here today of what I've been professing, I got canceled. And I mean canceled widespread. SHRM has canceled me. Okay? That's why you're not getting SHRM credit for today, just HRCI. Every SHRM chapter in Ohio has canceled me. Every single one. Because you don't become a whistleblower. You protect your own. You don't correct your own, you protect your own. Well, now guess what? Everything I said and a lot of other people have said has now come to roost. That pendulum is now swinging from the left to the right, and it is swinging so hard, it's going to take your teeth out. So what do we do now? If you didn't listen before, and again, I am thrilled to death that we've got the DEI people. I've been trying to partner and become one for years. I want you to look to see what these executive orders do. And the widespreadness, how this is going to affect everybody. I want everyone to see there is a solution that is actually endorsed by the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. So guess what? If you follow what I'm telling you, you are going to be following the law. And I can tell you, when someone comes in and says, oh, you have to get rid of this harassment, you have to get rid of this bullying program. No, I am in compliance with the EEOC. Go talk to the EEOC. You see, I'm an attorney, so I know where these landmines are. And I saw them and tried to warn folks. Well, now guess what? Now you got to change. Okay, and you DEI people who are genuinely with the best of intentions. I've been talking to a lot of you this week. I absolutely will positively help you to get a job, to keep your job. I don't want to see the baby thrown out with the bathwater. So everybody got me there? I hope you understand, because I've gotten a few emails from people. Well, I bet you're really glad they're canceling the DEI. No, I am also filled with calls from my friends that are gay, friends that are transgender, people who are of color, that they're scared to death. What's going to happen? No, I don't want that pendulum to swing against any of my brothers and sisters. And I do want to remind you, anybody who's heard me in the past understands, you do know that the story of Adam and Eve is science, right? It's not just a Bible myth. The Human Genome Project proved that we are all related. Look at the screen. See everybody's faces here? See everybody there? Oh my God, we're setting a record here, 260 plus people. I love this. I love this. And you know why Ohio Fair and I give this away for free? We want a good environment. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what we want. All right. So we're going to get off to the races here. Let me grab off my printer, my notes here. And as we get to something you want to talk about, I want you to walk out of here armed to the teeth, that there is a solution. All right. So first and foremost, in his first week in office, President Trump signed 4 executive orders addressing diversity issues and DEI programs. That was a busy week. Now, we're going to look at 2 of them here. One of them is called the Executive Order 14151, Radical and Wasteful Government DEI Programs and Preferencing. Okay, that was signed January 20th, 2025. All right. Now, let me just explain the widespread nature of both of these DEI programs, because the next one we're going to talk about is really the one that brings the hammer down. Executive Order 14173, reforming the federal hiring process and restoring merit to government service. So we're going to look at both of these today. Oh, Diana, I love your comment there. We're all in this together. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just love this because 5 months ago, I was a heretic. I was just, oh, you're the most evil person. Well, guess what? If you live long enough, I love Martin Luther King Jr., it's always the right time to do the right thing. And I will tell you right now, sometimes you will get attacked and it will be brutal. But you know, despots always fade away. Evil always fades away. And the best of intentions, the end doesn't justify the means. Okay, so we're going to find legal ways to do this. Yeah, I got a note in the chat here. All of these are going to be posted videos. So if you've missed any of the past ones on dehumanization or competitive victimization, I want you to go to the link that I sent you. Just go to scottwarwick.com. On the up menu bar, there is the bar free resources. And I want you to hit Ohio Fair Lunch and Learns. They're all posted there. Okay, so what's an executive order? Okay, first of all, an executive order is not law. But put it this way. If you want to do business with the government in any way, shape, or form, you got to follow what the president says. So let's look at how long the president of the United States arms are. First of all, his executive orders immediately apply to all 3 million people who work for the federal government. Automatically. All right. So that's a given. Who else do they apply to? They apply to anyone who has a government contract, from the government, has loans from the government, has grants from the government. If you want to take money from the government, you will follow this executive order. And what the agencies are working on right now, they are putting into all of their contracts that you will comply. And this is a material aspect of our contract. Okay, now why is that important? Because if you happen to be, let me just give you an example, Smucker's jelly, because I used to work for a supplier of Smucker's jelly. Okay, so Smucker's jelly sells millions of dollars of jelly to the military. Okay, so they have a big contract with the United States government. Well, right away, sometime in the next week or two, Smucker's jelly is going to get a revised contract that says they are not going to have anything to do with DEI. It's gone. And this is a material part of their contract. What's that mean? If they breach it, they now have committed a false claim against the United States government. And this was passed back during the Civil War when ripping off the government was almost an Olympic event. Everybody was doing it. Well, guess what? These are triple damages, folks. Triple. That means if you get caught, and why would you get caught? Because if one of your employees turns you in, the employee gets to keep 15 to 30% of whatever's recovered. Oh, let me tell you, man. Don't you have any loyalty to the company? Well, yeah, but $30 million makes me pretty loyal to me sitting in the Bahamas. You know, what's your job now? What do you do for a living? I drink and get drunk all day. Okay. And I just let the tide carry me in and out. Oh my God. Okay. So everybody with me? That's a coming. Now here's a place. So that's like the second branch that's going to come out and get you. And I want you to think, this is like Guardians of the Galaxy, Groot. Those roots just keep growing for as long as he wants those to go. I used to work for a juice box company on the west side of Columbus. It was called Combi Block. All right. It was a German-owned company. We made aseptic juice boxes. All right. So you don't have to refrigerate them. So you can put jelly, milk, juice, and it won't go bad. It doesn't need refrigerated. Okay. We didn't do business with the federal government. None of the federal government agencies bought juice boxes from us or packaging, but Smucker's did. So you know what was in Smucker's contract? In Smucker's contract, they had to put in the contracts that Smucker's was giving to everybody that wanted to do business with Smucker's, like the people who cut the grass, like the people who clean the offices, like the people who supply the pencils, who supply maybe the uniforms, and us, who supplies the packaging. We had in our contract that we had to follow the executive orders of the United States government, which in that time meant affirmative action. So you understand, that's what an executive order is. And I tell you, if you are not affected by an executive order, you still are not off the hook. But I will tell you, that's going to cover hundreds of millions of companies in this country. And that's one reason we're here. There is no reason to get smacked on this stuff. Okay, so everybody with me? You understand what an executive order is? All right, so let's get off to the races. All right, what did the radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing EO say? Well, if you look at the handout I sent to you, first of all, any program that even smells like a duck. If it looks like a duck, smells like a duck, sounds like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck. So anything that smacks of diversity, equity, environmental justice, I thought that was interesting, inclusion, belonging, accessibility. Accessibility is not referring to disability. It's basically a word that sometimes people will use. Well, diversity is kind of a bad word now. DEI is kind of an electric word, so we'll change it to this. Okay. Well, anything that smacks of that has got to go. It's got to go. Those are electric Workplace civility, wouldn't want to have that either. Yeah, Phoenix. And hold on to that term, workplace civility, because we're going to piggyback all this back in to the EEOC to legitimize. Now, being an attorney, this is my field. Being an HR person for over 40 years, this is my field. Don's telling us it makes me so mad. Are we supposed to remove the EEO statement? Oh, no, let's make a distinction here. EEO, the Equal Employment Opportunity Statement, means that you are not going to give, that you are not going to base decisions, that you are going to give equity to everyone based on their protected class. Age, race, sex, on and on and on. And I'll tell you, it's really interesting. When I audit companies, you look to see your EEO statement. And then a little later is a diversity statement that says oftentimes that we're going to give preferences to somebody based on their minority status or something in hiring. Or we'll have something, another section down, that we are going to have special training or special mentoring programs for minorities. Those directly conflict with Title VII. Your EEO statement, most of the EEO statements that I've seen are directly contradicted by someone's diversity statement. You understand how diversity started, why we got started on this. Let me just kind of clue you in as to how bad things were, because Don, you make an excellent point here. And I'll tell you, a lot of you belong to my former Human Resource Association in Columbus, Ohio, that I founded in 1986, that now I've been expelled from because I'm a whistleblower. I told them your teachings are illegal. And so guess what? We get a lot of this type of confusion. And here's an HR person or a business owner
trying he works for free.
I'm sorry, what?
Hey, we didn't do nothing. We just
Okay, if you want to talk, go ahead and let me know. Otherwise, I think that your mic got opened by mistake. Okay, so but if you got a comment, hey, I welcome them. But you see, this is why, let me just give you an example we've had in our previous ones. Mark Cuban was testifying before Congress. And just give you an idea of the illegality. And this was what my own chapter was teaching. And when I became a whistleblower, I got thrown out of the organization I founded. Okay, and helped grow from 100 members to over 600. Okay, heaven forbid, we protect our own. We don't correct our own. So what's illegal programming? Mark Cuban was testifying before Congress. And what he said was, hey, I'm a big proponent of diversity. If hiring someone based on their race or their gender helps my business, that is exactly what I'm going to do. I am going to give diversity opportunities to these folks, okay? Because it's good for my business and it's good for diversity. The senators stopped him right there. They said, you got to stop talking. You got to get a lawyer. What you are saying maybe comes from the best of intentions, but it is patently illegal. And then the chief officer of the EEOC came out and she said, Mark Cuban is flat wrong on the black letter of the law. Title VII is very clear. And I want you to think how your EEO statements directly conflict maybe your training or your DEI programs. It's just for years, we didn't care about it. We didn't do anything about it. Now clients and companies are falling like flies. Okay, so what she said is, if a protected class status plays any role, age, race, religion, gender, if it plays any role, it doesn't even have to be the dispositive role. If it's playing that type of role, that it has any influence into that hiring, that violates the black letter law of Title VII, and we'll come after you. Now, you see, the best of intentions. And I understand, Don, I see exactly where you're coming from, because in your chapter, this is what you've been taught. See why I complained? And it just continued. Just continued. So what would happen? I would routinely be told, oh no, you can't bid on this contract because we need a minority. I mean, that happens to me every month and a half. Still to this day, somebody will read my book and they'll say, oh, we want this type of program that's good for all humans, but our board says we have to have someone who's Black. Okay, so your DEI, no, well, get rid of the term DEI, your diversity or whatever you want to call it program has to now comply with Title VII. Yeah, Dawn, you're with me. Dawn, I've known you for, I don't want to say how old because I'm 64 years old. I don't want to say how old Dawn is because women get upset and hit me when I say things like that. But give me a call, Dawn. I would absolutely adore the chance to talk to you once again. Dawn's been a great friend for years. And I will tell you, the programming that you are getting from a lot of these organizations is illegal and it is racist. Plain and simple. Okay, so I will tell you, we have handed to the next administration, which now happens to be Donald Trump, all the ammo that he needs to blow it up. And again, listen to what I'm saying. No, I want to protect all of my Black brothers and sisters, my Hispanic brothers and sisters, my Asian, my Muslim, my atheist brothers and sisters. And I'll tell you, I want you to always think of this. And if you have not listened to my podcast on competitive victimization, I call it boomerang bigotry. And I want you to just use your common sense here because we've got a room full of people who live in the real world, don't we? You don't make money off of DEI. You are a DEI expert, or you are an HR person, or you're a business owner, or you're a chief operating officer, or you're a CEO, or, oh, God, help you. I've got a lot of consultants out there I've been talking to because a lot of consultants, what you are teaching and the advice you're giving is illegal. And they can sue you for malpractice.
Excuse me, Scott.
Yes, please.
Can I ask you a question?
Certainly.
I'm just curious about how Ohio SHRM is reacting to all these government policies now. I haven't really seen too much from them. Do you have any idea how they're reacting to this?
No, because when I brought this up to them and I became a whistleblower, understand I tried for years to get things to change. And when I tried with my own chapter, Hirako, saying, you've got to change this, they basically said, well, thank you for your feedback, and blew me off. And when I brought this up to Ohio SHRM, the director of Ohio SHRM, she laughed at me. So all this was, okay, Scott's crazy. Actually, the president of Hirako sent me an email thinking that I need have a mental impairment. No, I'm not crazy now, am I? Okay, so no, what I've seen, and this is the other thing I wanted to talk about, Nancy gave me a great segue here. You don't get into rainbowing. What is rainbowing? Rainbowing is what the University of Colorado has done, and now they are eating it big time. The University of Colorado might very well lose all of their government funding, all of it. They changed DEI to collaboration. No. And I understand, I got a good one here. Danny's telling me National SHRM needs to look into workplace civility. Okay, you got to change the names, absolutely. But you got to change the content. Yeah, listen to me. If you rainbow, which means you just basically paint it with a rainbow, now it looks all nice like Ohio State University did. And understand, I am a huge Ohio State University fan. Huge, huge. Even got my name right there. Huge. That's what they did. They rainbowed it. Didn't change the racist and the illegal programming, just changed the name. And how do I know that? Well, I was talking to a recent graduate and said, oh yeah, I was amazing because my first year as a freshman, I had to go to DEI training and I was told that I'm white. I'm a racist because I'm white. I was raised in America, so I'm white, so I'm racist. And Black people can't be racists because they're in the minority. Okay. Do you see now why, if you are not a government contractor
Amy
or a
Chinese
contractor,
dancer, or Amy Chinese dancer.
Okay, there we go, thanks. Or a government contractor of a contractor, maybe you're caught in the pickle the Target is in. Okay, they either drop their DEI program or the far right was going to cancel them. And they did. And their program was illegal. It was racist. They're doing the same thing. Oh, by the way, they did the same thing at Ohio State that they do at OU and a lot of other organizations. And so you see the anger. And now, instead of reforming and re-engineering everything so that it buys everybody in, now what have we done? We've completely destroyed it. And that's a mistake. Okay, so no, I was actually told point blank by Ohio SHRM when I said that, and this was just last year, when I told them that, no, we got to treat everybody like a human being. We've got to treat each other like we are all humans, like brothers and sisters. And I was told by the director of Ohio SHRM point blank, no, we do not treat each other like human beings, because that detracts from the disproportionate impact against minorities.
Hey, Scott.
Okay. Yes.
Hi, my name's Raymond Weaver. I'm calling from a transit authority agency here in Columbus, and I just have a quick question for you.
Please, yes.
In regards to some of the organizations that, we're receiving these orders, we're trying to understand how it may impact us. Some of us, it's not quite clear. We haven't received any contracts mandating us to necessarily pivot, but for organizations that are trying to be, I don't know, maybe chameleons in a way where we understand that we're being told in order to receive these federal grants, you have to eradicate your DEI, policies and practices. Do you have any recommendations for folks that still want to do the work, but want to do it in a way that doesn't necessarily say diversity, equity, and inclusion, but allows us to still do diversity, equity, and inclusion practices? Like, have you heard anything about people doing that?
Yes, absolutely, Raymond. Raymond, thank you so much. And I know exactly who you work for. Great organization and the best of intentions. And honestly, I don't see that too many people. I mean, what I've heard from some of these organizations like Ohio SHRM and things like this just make my skin crawl. Okay. And just give you one more stat. These effects, like on people like me, all right, when you've lost your job and you've been told point blank, well, we have to hire a minority, or we have to give this promotion to a minority, or we're going to do this. Okay, great. Do you realize now that effect, that 10 times more white people in the United States kill themselves, commit suicide, than do blacks? And there are only 6 times more white people. There are 8 times more, thousands of more white people every year are killing themselves than black people. And what I was told by Ohio SHRM was, well, that's fair. That's okay, because there are more white people. I am appalled. Let's go back to where I'm coming from. One person equals one person equals one person. And there is no reason for you today to break the law, because the hammer will come down on you big time. Break the law or engage in any type of stereotyping or racist practices. Now, I have to have a solution for you, don't I? I can't just say stop doing things, because I don't believe in that. I believe in diversity. I believe in fair treatment for everyone. And Raymond, hold on for just a second. Let me explain the EEOs, because I've got a solution for you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, I want you to wipe the slate clean. And let me just tip my hand. Raymond, that's such a great point. Well, first of all, send me your mailing address, Raymond. Email it to me, scott@scottwarwick.com. And I'm going to send you a copy of my tolerance and diversity and tolerance for white guys and other human beings book. Okay? Because that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. Everyone should be given a chance. Even white guys should be. If we were doing DEI legally and not stereotyping people for the last 20 years, no one would even be looking at it. But yeah, Ray, I'm going to shoot that to you. I am going to show you, you have too many programs in your organization. All of you, all 280 some plus of you. We've got too many programs. I want one program. I want you to create a safe culture. And what's that mean? Part of a safe culture means it's safe for you to come to work for your fingers and toes, right? It's safe for you to come to work that you're not going to get harassed and bullied. You have all, I'm sure, done your harassment and bullying training, because basically, if you do business in the United States and you have not conducted your harassment training, man, you're licking the outlet. You are saying, oh, please sue me. Please destroy me. Okay. And I'll tell you, we're going to look at the 2016 requirements. Understand 2016. That was 9 years ago, folks. I haven't seen a harassment training that has been in compliance for years. And I'm going to show you part of your safe environment, anti-bullying, anti-harassment. What else is part of it? It's safe for your fingers and toes, but it's also safe for your brain. It's safe for your body. Do you know that your number one health risk, boy, put your antennas up here, your number one health risk to your brain, post-traumatic stress disorder, and your body, heart disease, on everything else, is working in a toxic work environment, being intolerant. All right, so we're going to look at that. And workplace violence. If you have a toxic work environment, you are going to have workplace violence. And there are 38,000 physical assaults that occur in American workplaces every week. That's 2 million trips to the emergency room. So yes, absolutely, Ray. Thank you so much. Okay. I'm getting lots of good questions here. Let me see what I can come up on. Yeah, you're right. I got a great a comment here that EEO statements don't give preferences. That's right. That's why they're Title VII based. An EEO statement is not a diversity statement. Now, there's ways to have great diversity statements that you are going to hire. And you got this down here for some of you giving me great comments here that, well, we always hire the best person. Yes, absolutely. I just want to set a wide net. That's what affirmative action was supposed to do in the first place, was set a wide net and you get the best people. And I'll tell you, if you set a wide net, you're going to find all kinds of folks who are diverse. The problem is we do not want discrimination against anybody, because if I discriminate against someone who's Black, I'm going to throw my boomerang at someone who is LGBTQ, trans, Black, female. Can anybody tell me what a boomerang does when you throw it and miss? It comes right back at you. Okay. Yes, that is competitive victimization. I think that sounds kind of pompous, so I call it boomerang bigotry. Okay. Well, let's just move on here real quick here. On page 2, all the federal contracts are going to contain this. Ray, you are going to get a new contract here. There are all these contractors out there. It's going to take them a while. It's going to take them a while.
Him my question, because he's ignoring me.
Oh, okay, sure.
I've been trying to speak for about 30 minutes. It feels
Oh, sorry
like.
about that. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, I raised my hand, I did my comments, and I feel ignored, which is what the executive orders are doing. They are not making the statements for equity or ensuring a level
Right.
foundation. It is
Right.
cancel culture.
Well, understand, I see what you're saying. Okay, what they're saying is you got to get rid of these programs. And what they're saying is you have to comply. If you look at what I sent to you, that you have to comply with the civil rights laws, which includes Title VII. Okay, but I will tell you, if we had reformed diversity 10 years ago, then the racist statements that you see constantly, I mean, I'm always hearing these, and the illegal, that's where you really can hang your hat. You cannot break the law. Now, these have been breaking the law for years and nobody worried about it. Nobody worried about it. And now they are. And that started, and understand, here's Mark Cuban with the best of intentions. But Andrea Lucas, head of the EEOC, came right out and corrected him and said, no, this is illegal. You can't do this. And so what I am saying is, and actually I'm agreeing with you, we had this pendulum swing all the way over here to the far, far, far left, in which it sort of gave license, didn't make it legal, but it gave license to discriminating against certain people, like white people, like, you know, other types of folks. Now what's happening? Well, now we've got something just as bad. it's swinging all the way over here to the right, and it's smashing everything that we're trying to do. Okay, so what these executive orders are actually very narrow. And so the first thing that the executive order did, 14151, is it says no more diversity throughout the organizations, throughout this entire organization, to any of the contractors. And that's why you got to look at your contracts, because some contractors might forget to put that in your contract that you can't do these programs. And the reason they're killing them all is because of rainbowing, like University of Colorado, like Ohio State University, my alma mater. You know, no. You need to go and re-engineer the entire program. Okay, so I'm agreeing with you. The pendulum is swinging, and we do not want that pendulum to swing. Great point. Yeah, honestly, I'm looking at my slides here. I'm looking at the text. I'm looking at the comments here. So I'm getting a lot of comments. If you want to talk, just open your mic and start talking, because I am not necessarily going to see it, because I've got a lot of going on here in today, and we've got like 280 people that I really do want to make sure that they have a good feel for what these executive orders say and give you that solution that Ray and I were talking about. Okay, let's get to the next one here. This is taking us to page 3. This is the one that lowers more boom. Now, the previous order, executive order, warned private companies that you need to change. Didn't really tell them they had to. It said you need to. Yes, Amber?
She's just getting here at this time, and a lot of times when she's got
Amber, did you?
it's a mail to her that she doesn't understand.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so Executive Order 14173. What does that do? Okay. Let me go here. I got to get this off my screen. All right. Well, first of all, affirmative action is gone. It's gone. It's dead. And when I did this in Legal Update last week, I had someone speak up and they said, you know, we still have a contract that says that we have to comply with affirmative action. I said, yeah, they haven't gotten to you yet. The agency you're working with hasn't gotten to you yet. Now, understand what affirmative action started out. Okay, what it started out with. And this was President Johnson years ago. Okay. You have to look at the most recent census. The most recent census. How many black noses, how many Hispanic noses, how many female noses, and all this kind of stuff live in your area. How many live in your geographic area? And so what you have to do is you have to take affirmative steps, which means you have to go out and recruit and things like this. And you got to make sure that your workforce mirrors the population around you, which is a really good idea. Because think about it. I live in Columbus, Ohio. So let's say that I have a jar of 100 marbles. And let's use today's statistics. 76 of those marbles are white. 13 of those marbles are black. 7 of those marbles are brown. And the rest are all just kind of mixed in. And you mix them all together. Okay. In 1960, you would reach inside that mix of marbles and pull out a handful of white marbles. Okay. Can anybody tell me what you think the chances are in an equally mixed jar of 100 marbles with this kind of mixing going on? How many white marbles and brown marbles and black marbles should you have? Does it make sense that you would pull out only white marbles? What do you think? How many people think there's discrimination going on? I'm going to give you my thumbs up. I promise you that's exactly what was going on. Okay, exactly. And it was killing the entire black community. Okay, let me just give you an idea as to how bad it was. And I'll tell you, this is bad. And this is bad. And this is this boomerang coming back now. In 1959, before most all of you were born, in 1959, get this, 55% of all of the black families in this country lived at or below the poverty level. You hearing me? That's disgraceful. That is Jim Crow apartheid. That's what that is. No black supply, white and colored bathrooms, all this kind of stuff. Then we got Title VII. And we got affirmative action. And the reason we had affirmative action is because the discrimination was blatant. Now, we've gotten better. We got more civil rights laws. We've gotten better at this. And so, do you know what percentage of Black families live in poverty as of 2024? It's like 15%. We're not there. And what am I saying? No one in this country should live in poverty. White, Black. If you are concerned about the race of somebody who lives in poverty or is not educated or is hungry or is cold, you're a racist. That's what you are. There's no room for you here. Okay? So we want everyone. Now, what did affirmative action turn into? It turned into, okay, you have to have so many of these people. How many of these people? It came into preferential hiring. That's what it turned into. Okay? And I'll tell you, that is still happening today in 2025. It is illegal. And I just want you to think about this. You put in with the best of intentions that you're going to help diversity people or minority people, and then you get hit with a lawsuit because there are law firms all over this country that are now specializing in DEI lawsuits. One of your employees feels that what's happening is illegal. What are the chances they're going to go to a lawyer and turn you in? Really good. Really good. And let me just give you a statistic as to why the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action in the university systems because it was unconstitutional. This right from the case. If you have the minimum GPA from high school, minimum SAT scores, minimum extracurricular activities, if you were Asian, you had a 25% chance of getting into Harvard. If you were white, you had like a 35% chance. If you were Hispanic, you had like a 70% chance. And if you were Black, you had a 95% chance. You see, that's preferential admission. That's preferential hiring, and that's illegal. So affirmative. So here we go. This is right back to the comments we're getting here and the thoughts. I'll tell you, affirmative action is a good idea. What it originally was. The people you hire, it should reflect in the last census. My fear is we're going to go back and we're going to have 100 marbles, and you're going to reach in, you're going to pick these marbles out, and they're all going to be white. No, I don't want that. I want affirmative action. But what's happened is I want what was originally intended. No one should be discriminated against. Okay? No one should be stereotyped. Well, affirmative action is gone. With one sweep of the pen, with this executive order, it's gone. And if you still have contracts that say that you have to engage in affirmative action, contact your state, your agency that gave you that contract, and they will tell you you don't have to do it because it's not required now. Okay, what else? Well, this really has the teeth because this goes through and it reiterates that all these government contracts have to be reformed. Okay, they have to go and ban. You understand? We're not reforming anything under these executive orders. Everything's banned. Everything is banned. So anything that smells like DEI, looks like DEI, diversity, all those things, terms that are really good terms like diversity. Diversity is a good term. But quite frankly, I'm going to steer my clients away from it because it is like lightning. Okay, so it reiterates that. The next thing it does is it gives some serious warnings to you private sector folks. Serious warnings. And this comes right from the EEOC. And again, here we've got Andrea Lucas, who is leading the charge. If you are engaging in illegal tactics, we are going to come after you. It is that simple. Now, right now, I'd hear how many people have ever heard somebody say something like, well, yeah, I know I got, or you've been told that when you're hiring somebody, oh yeah, hey, we really need a minority for this. And we go along with it because like, oh yeah, well, that's going to be fair because we have to. Now, what are the chances one of your people who is told that illegal discrimination, that they're going to sue you. Oh yeah.
Scott,
Dropping like flies. Yeah.
Scott, I really want to challenge that. I have never heard anything like that. I want to hear from somebody who has had an employer tell them, I can't hire you because I must hire a Black person.
Oh, how many people here you've ever heard these types of things? These types of things. How many people have ever heard?
Never.
I hear it
I'm
all
sorry,
the time with my clients, frankly.
Yeah.
I have definitely heard that.
Yeah.
I have been told we have to hire a Black person to fill this role.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
have never heard that in all my years of human resources. I have never heard that.
And you've
Exactly.
worked for good companies. You know, that's great. That's great. But no, I know that, you know, other people, let's just do a poll here. How many people have either been told that or that, oh no, you got to make sure the next person that you hire is a minority. We need to have a woman for this. We need to have, anybody ever been told that?
Never.
Okay, let me go. Yeah,
Never.
okay.
Yes.
Yes. I have.
I have.
Yeah. I mean, you see the room just filling up here that
I
this
have.
is the norm. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a really good point there.
I have
It
not.
really is. Okay, good. Anybody else never been told that? Because let me tell you,
I've never been told that.
Okay, great, great. Then guess what? If you're in those types of organizations, you probably don't have anything to change at all. That's fantastic. Have you ever heard from a manager something to the effect that, you know, come on, I know we have to do these warnings and we have to do all this coaching, but do I really have to go through it with this? This is a white guy. Can I just fire him? Anybody ever heard that one?
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
I mean, I think this,
never.
Yes.
yes, getting some yeses, getting some nos, getting lots of hands up. Okay, yeah. Yeah. You know, I'll tell you, just my personal experience, oh my God, it happens to me all the time with my clients. And I keep reminding them this is illegal. Okay. I've been asked to do training and to teach people how to hire more minorities. And my response is, oh, that's easy. You just set a wide net. You do what there's a company, a small bank, 54 employees in Newark, Ohio, America High, where I'm from, First Federal, 54 employees, and they set a wide net. They set a wide net. They recruit from all over the state. Now, only 54 employees, they have transgender people, they have Black people, they have Hispanic people, they have gays, they have white people, they have Muslims, they have, it is amazing, the diversity, and it's all legal. Now, those of you that have never been asked that, you must, I mean, really work for companies that say, oh no, we're not going to do this. We're going to hire the best people and we're not going to discriminate. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. Okay. But this is what's, oh, I'm getting, if you look in the chat, we are getting filled up with things here. I've been told to hire Black, no pregnant workers, no foreigners. Yeah. Yeah. Just this goes on for dozens and dozens and dozens. I am quite sure there are a lot of employers out there that they have nothing to worry about, that this is not what they are doing. But I will tell you right now, I've been warning this for years. And I've even been told that we're going to give preferential loans by banks and credit unions. We're going to give preferential loans to Blacks because it's cheaper for us to take a chance on them than to pay the attorney's fees to defend ourselves. And we really, honestly, the lawsuit's one thing. We don't want the social media. Okay. I see a lot of people with their hands up. I didn't know if you were answering one of my questions or if you had comments you'd like to make, you are certainly welcome. Okay, very good. Okay. And what is in this executive order is for those of you that don't have any of these types of things and that you're worrying about, you probably don't have to worry about these warnings. But the Department of Justice, Ms. Bondi announced just this week, She's coming after private sector employers. And I'll tell you right now, 90% that I've dealt with, oh my gosh, you got to change what you're doing. And it's just like, well, how would they catch us? Your emails. And people won't perjure themselves. Okay. So all these types of things, you want to make sure that you are in compliance. Great questions. Okay. And we're getting back and forth. Okay. And there's great comments here in the chat here. So I'm going to post the chat. So I want you to see the country's a big place and there's all kinds of things going on. Okay. So let's look at page 6 here. Page 6. What are you going to do? Well, first of all, you got to know what's legal and illegal. And this gets back to a lot of programming. Okay. A lot of the programming that I have seen teaches illegal tactics. And Mark Cuban did not have any intention at all of getting up there and telling Congress that he's going to break the law. He got up there and did what he thought was the right thing to do. It's illegal. It's illegal. Okay, so make sure that you are auditing everything. And I got some questions here. What do you audit? Oh my gosh, you audit everything in your that you're dealing with. Your website, your policies, your handbooks, your marketing materials, your training and mission statements, not just for the law, but you want to make sure you don't want to get caught in the web that Target is in, where they've got the right ready to attack them. And on February 28th, because Target did get rid of its DEI program, which was illegal, now they're going to have a boycott on February 28th. And I'll tell you, it's amazing. Some of the feedback that I've seen posted online is, well, we don't care if it's illegal, we want it back. Now, Target is also facing a lawsuit from its board, I believe, and the shareholders for engaging in illegal tactics. Oh my gosh. So you see, you don't want to go too far to the right or the left. If we had reformed DEI 10 years ago, like I said we should, you wouldn't be in this boat right now, I promise you. Okay? Now, employers should develop a communication plan for discussing these issues with the company employees and all of its customers, to post that. And I'm saying fair for all humans. And that resonates with 90% of the people out there.
Hey, Scott,
Okay.
can I say something?
Yes, sure.
This is Andre. You had mentioned something.
Yeah.
The lending, that in some cases lenders were making loans to blacks of fear of a lawsuit. And in my comments, I was saying I'd never heard of that. I'm wondering, because listen, I was residential commercial real estate appraiser for about 15 years in Florida, so I don't know how the rules are in Ohio. It sounds like, because maybe some loans were made to non-blacks that weren't necessarily, we'll just say kosher, or according to guidelines or Fannie Mae guidelines, that maybe the fear was some retaliation of not making some of those same loans to people of color. You understand what I'm saying? So, and when those are the circumstances, if you look at it one way, it sounds like, these people really weren't qualified, but we made loans but there's the context to it. Because otherwise what I have and experienced is when we moved here at closing, a white family would not sell to my parents. They actually, what they said was, we're not going to sell our house to that really horrible N-word.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah.
That's in the 70s.
You still get that today. You do.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But yeah, just in general, it's real estate tends to be one of those generational wealth builders. There've been a lot of barriers to people of color, specifically African Americans, being able to get a loan from the bank even when they're qualified historically. So I was just saying that was kind of a new one for me to hear. But Ohio's different. You guys are cooking
this is across
dogs up there, right?
No, Andre, you're right. This is across. No, I've got clients, and I worked for a mortgage loan company for 8 years. Okay, so, and I dealt with, guys, a lot of different lenders and everything like this. And as well as I do, anybody who's ever been involved with the sale of a house and you're appraising and everything, and you're looking at something that is happening, okay, as, okay, can this person qualify? There's a little bit of push. And I will tell you point blank, and the company that I worked for, and the company that purchased them, and the companies that we sold loans to, it was pretty universal. And it still happens today because I got clients in the mortgage loan industry. If it's close, and you're white, you're not going to get it. If it's close, and we can push it a little bit so that we can look more favorably on this family of color or Hispanic or something like this, but particularly someone who's Black, we're going to give them the loan because we are so afraid of the left picketing us or the lawsuits. And one president of a mortgage loan company, actually located in Tucson, Arizona, told me point blank, he said, you know, if we lose it, then we can always recoup the house. It's cheaper to do that than pay the attorney's fees because they can go to civil rights and file against us for free. And oh my gosh, then what it puts my people through, they're called the most horrible things in the world. And that is the state of what we deal with a lot. And it's not fair one way or the other. Now, redlining has been illegal for years. And that redlining is actually the official redlining where you can and can't live. Okay, that's what that actually is. Okay, but it still happens that I'm not going to sell to these people. I'm not going to sell to those people. What we have to do is make sure that we've got structures in place that are legal. And then the other thing is dealing with the individual bigots when we run into them. You should be just as angry over somebody being denied a house because they're white as if they were being denied because they're Black. Because if you aren't upset over a fellow human being being shut out like that, that boomerang is going to come right back at you. So yeah, I put it this way. It's not regulation or anything. These are all under the table types of things. And you all know as well as I do that a lot of business gets conducted under the table, behind closed doors. And it's just all got to stop. Okay, so good point, Andre. Thank you very much. Okay. Also, make sure that yeah.
Hi, Scott. This is Jenny. I had a question about when you're talking about auditing everything. So I work in learning and development. So
yeah,
I'm more concerned about when we teach things like interview training. I mean, we have a class, we call it competency-based interviewing, but we have those slides about, you know, not discriminating, mentioning the Employment Acts and the Title VII and all that. I mean, is that still, I guess, okay? Or should we take some of that out? I mean, I'm afraid of the pushback that we might get because people hear about this executive order but don't really read about it.
Right.
So I guess I'm just wondering how to handle things. We even have a training class, a lunch and learn on unconscious bias, and you know how to be a what is that word? Sponsor? Not sponsor. Oh, I can't think of the word. But anyway, we have like whole ED&I courses that we've created. So it's like, how do we handle that? I guess is the question.
Well, yeah, and first of all, it sounds to me like you're talking about EEO. So let's not confuse, because that's a really good point, Jenny. I don't want to confuse EEO with DEI. Because DEI says I am going to give preferential treatment. And again, originally, affirmative action and diversity was we want to reflect our communities, which is great. You should reflect your communities. Absolutely.
How are you?
Okay. Let me get the mics here. Okay. But oh, I'm sorry. Did I mute somebody that wanted to talk? I was getting background from somebody. I'm sorry. Okay. But let me just kind of explain. EEO is we're not going to discriminate. We're going to hire the best person. Okay. The questions should all be about, you know, their competencies, you know, things like this. The United States Supreme Court even told us you are perfect. It's perfectly legal to ask questions about, you know, what are the greatest obstacles that you've overcome? You know, things like that. Now, somebody who is Black, they might say, well, my skin color. But I will tell you, today, you might hear that from anybody. What's the greatest obstacle you've overcome? Being gay. What's the greatest obstacle you've overcome? Well, being transgender, being female, being mainstream white male. Okay, it just really depends because you can't look at somebody and tell what their story is. You don't know what they've overcome. So, Jenny, it sounds like you're doing a good job there. And that's one reason we're holding this session is so people understand what this EEO difference is from DEI and what these EEO or these executive orders tell you to do. Good point. Good point. But
sorry, Scott.
I have a question. My name is Jacqueline. I took a note and you mentioned DEI equals preferential treatment. Can you elaborate more? Because that's not my perception of DEI. So
Okay.
how do you equate that to preferential treatment?
Okay. And let me just tell you, again, this goes back to what is preferential treatment? Okay. Title VII says, and understand what Mark Cuban said. And even the Senate said, you got to be quiet. Because he's saying, I'm going to give preferential treatment when it suits my business for someone because of their race, because of their gender, something like this. That's illegal. Now let's look at some other types of things. We've heard all from so many folks here that they've been told point blank. They've been told point blank that there's preferential treatment that they are instructed to give to someone because of their race, because of whatever, to discriminate against someone because they're Black. I mean, a lot of overwhelming amount here. Let me just give you an example of the programming that I've heard. And understand, I've spoken at SHRM's, unfortunately, SHRM's National Diversity Conference 7 times. I'm appalled at what I hear. I'm appalled. One of the things I heard, and I was sitting next to the people from Gorman-Rupp, one of the big manufacturers in Central Ohio. I'm sitting right next to these two people, and the speaker gets up and says, you need to set goals. You need to set goals for hiring minorities. And so you want to set these goals that you're going to hire so many minorities this year. And if your managers don't do that, it should affect their pay. Okay, that's a quota. That's a quota. See, they don't know that that's illegal. That's a quota, and that was declared illegal by the United States Supreme Court in 2003, like 10 years before that. Okay, that's illegal. It's also illegal, and I heard this from my own chapter, and didn't want to hear it, but I told my own chapter, got up and said, you know, you need to set up programs that are mentoring specifically for Black males, for Black females, for maybe Hispanics or something like this. That's illegal. That's illegal. Now, everybody's sitting here. I mean, a lot of people sitting there goes, well, yeah, I've seen that. I've seen this. I've seen this. Yeah, because, and understand, think back in the 1960s, 70s, and the 80s, this historical, think about this. In 1959, more than half of every Black person in this country lived in poverty. So the argument actually for more radical types of remedies kind of made sense. I mean, it's like, oh my God, look what we've been doing to these people for years. We've redlined, we've done this, we've locked them out of loans. Okay, but now you're doing this today. And we're not where we need to be. I'll never say that. But here's what's going to happen when you have those types of programs that distinguish that you are female to get into this, or that you are whatever to get into this, that violates Title VII. And I've never been to a diversity conference where some speaker didn't get up and profess something like that. And it's illegal, blatantly illegal. And now people are saying, oh yeah, you are making distinctions between race. That's right. So does that help? Yes.
Yeah. I would agree that people have made comments using improper language. And maybe that was not the intent of what they were meaning. But the existing issue is this DEI elimination initiative is communicating something that is not true, and that is preferential treatment for Blacks and other minorities, as well as women, is eliminating opportunities for white men. Why do I say this? Just look at the data. How many Black female executives, how many Black female executives are in corporate America today? how many Hispanic females, how many Hispanic men. The fact that the people that hold the power, make most of the decisions are white men tells us that the percentages are way lower than people are making this out to be.
Well, I see what you're saying. People's in the top leadership positions, but I think you need to look at what is happening at the lower levels. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, put it this way. If you look at the studies as to, I mean, from Bureau of Labor Statistics, when you look at real qualified studies, if you look at the census, the 2020 census, the statistics are absolutely appalling as to the open discrimination, because nobody seems to worry too much about discriminating against white males or white females. And I'll tell you, what you get is if you discriminate against one white person, that person's going to throw that boomerang right back at you. And that's then what you then see with someone who is Black. Okay. And it keeps escalating back and forth. But the statistics are very, very clear. Okay. Very clear. If you start to look at what effect this is having, openly mocking, oh my gosh, our top, quote, quote, DEI people like Ibram Kendi, okay, Kendi, says that you can't be a racist if you're Black because you're in the minority. All white people are racists. Okay, freeze right there. That opens the door for some of the most horrendous treatment. And I'll tell you right now, that's one thing. Let me just skip ahead here because we're not going to have time to spend much time on it, but let me just show you here. Well, you want to develop a safe program that is for everyone. That's for everyone. Discrimination in this country is the norm. Harassment is the norm. And it's so bad that harassment and retaliation are the top two claims made with the EEOC, who's 50 to 60,000 cases behind. Okay. And I'll tell you, the statistics you need to look at is who's falling into poverty, who's coming out of poverty, across the board. Is there preferential hiring? You know, we only had an hour, so I will tell you right now, the norm, like across the board, like American Airlines, they still had a quota program as of 2024. And they gave absolute preferential hiring to Blacks over whites. Patently illegal, blatantly illegal. And that is the norm with a lot of large organizations. And when I flew, I went down to the Ohio State Championship game. When I flew from Columbus, Ohio, down to Atlanta, and then back to Charleston to see a friend of mine, I flew American. Every single attendant, every single person on the plane, every single one happened to be Black. Now, what are the chances that if I've got 100 marbles in this country, 76 are white, 13 are Black, 8 are brown, and the rest are a mix, what are the chances I'm going to reach in there and grab a handful of all Black marbles? So I will tell you, and give you another statistic, because you really need to look at the data. Forget the suicides for a minute. Do you know that 8 times from 2010 to 2020, 8 times more white people fell into poverty than Black people did? And there are only 6 times more white people than Black people. We're in the millions now. Okay, you're starting to see that you can look at the top executives, but look and see what's happening, and look and see what this assortment of people is telling you. And here's what I'm saying. Discrimination, harassment against anyone is wrong, and it is illegal now. And so, yes, I'm not saying that I would have gotten rid of all of the DEI programs. I would have forced compliance, but the reason he's blowing them up is because of University of Colorado, Ohio State University, OU, because they're going to rainbow it and they're going to call it something else. No, go in. And like our comments from Ms. Kellum and some of these other folks, absolutely. Do what they're doing. I love it when I hear someone like Heather or somebody say, well, we've never had that problem. We don't do that. Wonderful. I applaud. If every organization was like you, we wouldn't be talking. We wouldn't be talking. And I could turn my attention to suing people, which is a lot more fun. Okay, so no, I'm just kidding. But now I want to get this in here real quick because I want to make sure that you see, what do you want to do? I want to have a safe culture. I want to have a safe for every human. And here's where I get shot down. First and foremost, part of your safe culture program should be your harassment and bullying. Should be harassment and bullying. Then your safety program. You've all got safety programs of some kind, germs, lockout, tag out, something. Make that program part of your safe culture program, violence prevention and health and wellness. Now, let me show you here. And we'll stop with this and we'll continue this discussion next month where I'm going to show you more as to how you structure these programs so that it should be safe for everyone. Okay. The EEOC came out in 2016 and said, these are the factors that need to be in your program. That need to be in your program. Tolerance. Does that sound familiar? Conflict resolution. Define bullying, which the United States Supreme Court has done for you in 1993. You got to include social media. Bystander intervention. That means it's everybody's responsibility. This smacks of diversity. Smacks of diversity. I'll tell you, we'll start this through next month, March 2nd. We're always going to be the second Friday of the month. Noon to 1.
I catch everything and I'm not taking that chance.
Tony? Oh, okay. Because here's where I want to go with this. I want to show you, here's an alternative. I love the discussion. I wish we had 2 hours for this because I would have loved to have interacted with you. I appreciate what you're saying. And let's just boil everything down. Take a breath. Take a breath. It shouldn't happen to anybody. Can we all agree on that? What do you think? Should we all agree on that? We're all humans. We're all related. This shouldn't happen to anyone. And my fear is if you take diversity and throw it in the dumpster, it's licensed to go back to 1960. No, I don't want my Black relatives or my Hispanic relatives or my friends to go slipping back into poverty. No, and I'll tell you, that will happen. That will happen. Okay? So that's what we want to do. We want to have a program that is a safe culture. You come to work at any organizations or your clients, it's a safe culture. That means you are not going to be harassed or bullied because of your age, race, sex, because you disagree with somebody, because you're Democrat or Republican. Safety. You incorporate into your safety program. We are not going to have workplace violence. What's that mean? That means you are going to be tolerant. I'm never going to tell you what to believe. I will never tell you what to be accepting. Let me throw that out there. Has anybody ever heard in your program that you should be accepting of other people's differences? You ever heard that? Okay. Are you going to go up to a Christian fundamentalist and are you going to tell that person that they have to be accepting of the Satanists they just hired? You can tell them that? Because that's illegal. That's illegal. That's illegal. And I'll tell you, after our Supreme Court decision last year on religious accommodation, man, you're in big trouble. You are in big trouble. That violates Title VII. No, you're not going to be accepting. I'll never tell you what to believe. You believe what you want to believe. If you believe that spaceships are coming back next week up to pick up all the Joneses, more power to you. I'm going to control your behavior. That is tolerance. And you're not going to pick on somebody because they're different. And maybe we will cut down on those 2 million physical assaults and 2 homicides that happen every day. Yeah, almost 2 homicides in workplaces every day. And health and wellness. If you work in a toxic environment for anybody, If you work in a bullying environment, you are going to die. It's going to double your chance of premature death. Double. It's worse than smoking. You hearing me? It would be better if you smoked. It would be better if you smoked to calm down than to work with a bully. And you might be getting bullied because you're white, because you're black, because you're whatever. Okay? Let me tell you right now, I got 6 friends within the last 14 months who have gone on disability because they are white and they're getting bullied. 6. My phone regularly rings from suicides. People have committed suicides because they've been displaced, because they've been bullied, and it seems to be okay to pick on them because they're white. And your brain. If you work in a toxic work environment, you will damage your brain. And most of you have seen my brain. I know what I'm talking about, and I know how to heal the brain firsthand. I am here to tell you, you don't want anything to do with this. This is why you spend 8 hours at work in a toxic environment, you will develop post-traumatic stress disorder. That's why 30% of all Americans have PTSD. Okay, wonderful discussion. I love the different opinions. I think this is fantastic. I applaud you big time. But there is a better way. We can disagree on the statistics. That's fine. And I'm a statistic nerd, man. I'm looking at this stuff. I'm here to tell you bad things are happening to everyone. You hearing me? Bad, tragic things are happening to anyone. And if you are concerned about the race, the gender, the sexual orientation, the religion of anyone who is being bullied for any reason, or denied a loan, or denied a raise, or denied a job, or denied mentoring, you're the bigot. You're the bigot. I am hoping that is what we can all agree on. Now, we can disagree on the impact, but we should all agree it shouldn't happen to anybody. That is what diversity is supposed to be. And I don't want to lose that. And we don't throw DEI out with the bathwater. Let's keep the baby and throw the bathwater out. Get rid of the illegal stuff. Get rid of the stereotyping types of things. We're grouping all these people together. And let's come up with a program that is a safe culture for all humans. Is that a good idea? I think it's a good idea. And honestly, I'm old. I'm 64, working on 65. I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not going to be here that much longer. I honestly do not want to leave the world in this type of condition. And with the racist and the illegal programming that is still going on, and so many organizations that I've been thrown out of and still go on across this country, they're just rainbowing it. No. Safe programs. Workplace civility is exactly what the EEOC called it. So you're perfectly good for calling it that. Any final questions? Hey, we should schedule a half-day thing. You guys are more wonderful than I had imagined. I love the comments. Oh, age discrimination? Yeah, Dawn, tell me about it. I'm overqualified for most of the positions that I see come through, but I would love to apply and say, well, how old are you? I'm almost 65. I act like I'm 12, but I act like I'm 65. I am 65. They won't hire me. They won't hire me. Okay, any final comments, questions, deep religious concerns?
Scott, I will say somebody had a comment in the chat about when companies, and I know my company does this, like, calls out different cultures, maybe it's, Women's History Month or Black History Month. Like, I mean, is that going to be affected by the orders if we want to start doing, if we want to keep doing the awareness, or does it have to just be awareness for all? You got to make sure you hit multiple different awareness categories when you do things like that.
That is a great question. And there's no legal issue there because it's not impacting anyone's tangible job. You could say, well, it's creating an environment. No, that's so far down on the legal thing. But what you want to maybe have in there, and I suggested this to an organization once, was, if you want to have a Black History Month celebration, yeah, you almost, fine. You got a whole month named after it. That's fine. Do you want to have disability awareness? I got some clients. I mean, think about this. How many awareness days would you have? Hispanic, Muslim, atheist. I mean, some people, I always love this. It's like, oh yeah, we should have a Christian awareness day. Well, how about the Muslims? No, we're not going to do that. Okay, well, that's not exactly safe for everybody, is it? But I like your idea. You could have a cultural awareness day. You could have Black History Day. You could do that. But this is one of the problems with diversity training is we look at certain cultures. Like, okay, we're going to teach about Black culture. We're going to teach about age culture, whatever that is. We're going to teach about Hispanic. Okay, great. How could you hit on every culture in the world? What are you going to do when you run into somebody from Japan? You say, oh, I haven't had that culture yet. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. But skills. And what are skills? Well, skills are nice and easy here. You will be tolerant, which means I'm not going to pick on you because you're different. I'm not going to pick on you or treat you different because you're Black, because you're white, because you're Wiccan, because you're a Satanist. Conflict resolution. That's a big one. That's a big one. You got to define bullying. And let me just tip my hand. What is bullying? Don't do or say anything that wouldn't look good on the front page of USA Today. Some of you have heard my harassment trainings. I've heard that before. Social media, don't go out and post stupid things. And whose job, let me ask you, whose job is it to speak up when you see something going on in your organization that's wrong? How many people think it's everybody's job? Yeah. Type it in here. Or, oh, yeah. Well, what if Satanism wants a week off? Okay. Yeah. Once a week. Yeah. Cultural days. Yeah. Okay.
Scott,
let's make it simple. Yes, please.
Yeah, this is going to sound terrible, but a lot of companies have employer-supported organizations, special interest groups, things like that, like Black insurance professionals or Hispanic insurance professionals, and they provide resources for these groups. And the groups then sometimes perpetuate the white privilege myths and all that. White racism is inherent and all that stuff. And I think that could be a problem place when it's workplace supported. Years ago, our professional organization decided they wanted to have special interest groups, so they had Blacks in safety engineering and women in safety engineering and Latinos in safety engineering. And tongue in cheek, at the meeting when this was brought up, somebody suggested, well, what about white guys in safety engineering? And the poor guy got run out of the meeting. It's horrible.
Yeah. No, you're going to see the world change. And what a great comment here. The one thing that I know, and I try to keep it simple, is everybody deserves a shot. Now, if you have something in your organization that is only for Black employees or is only for I can tell you right now, that's as illegal as the day is long. Okay, you're going to get nailed on that every single time. And we've had those for years, but the antennas are up now. You will get caught. The other thing is you have all these associations across, and let me just kind of, I was dealing with the Chamber of Commerce, I was dealing with the Central Ohio Diversity Consortium. Central Ohio Diversity Consortium. I thought, well, that would include me. Okay, I'm part of the community. And I contacted them and they said they were going to focus on racism in 2024. I said, okay, great. Now, here's a program I got. I would love to present this because DEI is in big trouble and I think this can help. And the response I got was, well, racism does not include straight white males. I got that in writing. I can't misquote you when you say something so racist, okay? So what are they teaching? So Patrick, I'd love to have a half-hour discussion on this. What is that organization teaching? I'll tell you right now, if you're paying the dues to go to an organization that is teaching illegal or in stereotyping habit, stereotyping all white males. Isn't that wonderful that I can group all white people together? Isn't that wonderful? I got news for you. I don't think you can do that with anybody. I got to get to know you and think. Let's say that you send your employees to my former HR association, okay? And you go there and you hear someone up there saying that, well, all white males, they're all guilty. They're all guilty, which is what I heard. And the leadership doesn't have any problem with it. Okay. Your employee now comes back and starts saying these types of things. They come back and they start saying, hey, we should have a special program just for, female Latinos. Okay. Are you going to keep sending somebody to an association that is spreading such illegal tactics and making such racist comments? If you said all blacks were guilty, there'd be an uproar. That's that acceptable bigotry that we're running into. So an organization, because, Black Professionals for Columbus, Ohio, I just made that up. It could be a great organization. It could be that it teaches legal tactics. It could be an organization that teaches to know everybody as a human. It could be wonderful. I can't tell what an organization is just by their title. I don't know. So I think organizations are going to take a real good look at what it is that they're sending their people to, where you're paying your dues to, okay? And I can tell you right now, if you're paying dues to an organization that is spreading this type of illegal and racist rhetoric, I think you should stop doing that. If nothing else, I don't think it's a good PR move. I can tell you Target sure as heck isn't going to do that. So great question. Great one. This is oh my God, this is a fantastic. Yeah, I'm getting a great comment here from Kevin. Yeah. All white males don't think alike, do they? I mean, all you white males, really? Have you looked at Congress? Have you looked at it? You really think Bernie thinks the same way as Donald Trump? Really? People are people are people. And I tell you, one of the biggest problems is that we've lost sight of that. Okay. Everybody, yeah, Paige, everybody is a protected class. Absolutely. And that is why, that's why you're seeing these lawsuits coming up. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I've got half a dozen clients already that we've had to settle. We've had to settle. Well, we got this, and now we got this letter from this attorney. Okay. And there are 2 law firms in Ohio that are specializing in this, and they will not once their teeth are in you, they'll get you. Oh, and by the way, if you send somebody to a session like my former HR group, and you hear this stuff, and you come back and you put it in place and get caught, you can sue that association for teaching that. And you can sue all the individual board members. Individual. When I warned them about that, they really got mad. I'm like, okay, keep licking the outlet. Yeah. Oh, Dawn, yes, the OFCCP just called off an audit. OFCCP is the Office of Federal Contract Compliance that oversees affirmative action. I don't think they're going to be here next week, Dawn. Dawn, give me a call. I'd love to talk. And anybody else that wants to talk in more detail, I just eat this stuff up. I'm on a passion to bring everyone together and say, let's go down the middle here. Let's bring this pendulum to the middle. And let's create an environment for humans. It sounds like some of you already have that, and I applaud. I applaud that. Okay. Those of you who need to reform your DEI programs, we're going to have programming on this in the upcoming months, and there's solutions. Do not blow up your good programs like tolerance, conflict resolution, bullying, and all that stuff. Okay. Any other final comments? You've been wonderful. I cannot express how much fun you all are. And I'm going to send all these fantastic comments in the chat. I'm going to post this. It'll be posted by next Friday. The video will be there. The chat will be there because this is probably the best chat we've ever had. I'm going to post the slides and I'm going to post the DEI handout. Okay? All right. Okay. Appreciate all of you so much. Any final questions, comments, deep concerns?
Hey, Scott, sorry, I wanted to wait till the end because I didn't want to take everybody's time, but
yeah.
So we have federal government contracts. We formerly have had to file affirmative action plan, but we contract with state and also municipalities.
Oh.
And they're still saying, some of them, what we're hearing is that they're still requiring those AAPs.
Okay. Yeah.
But like, so we're kind of on the fence. Do we go ahead and complete them? Do we not?
Yeah, for right now, it's kind of in flux. And we're talking federal. And a lot of you states out there, like it's kind of funny. I was just on the phone with somebody from Tennessee, and Tennessee has scrapped all that. We see that's a state to state to state thing. I think that Ohio hadn't gotten around to that yet, but we are, I mean, I couldn't imagine these would continue too long. My advice is always, if this is still in your contracts, reach out and contact them directly. Say, hey, this is what, and if they say, yeah, we're still doing it, I'm like, okay, are you doing this as a state initiative? Because most of the initiatives are from the federal government to the states, and the state then makes its contractors comply. Not all of them, but most of them. Okay. Very few states have their own affirmative action initiatives. Very few.
I think it's just, I mean, and this is not an educated statement, but I think that so many of them are just so far behind the times that they just have contract language that's been in there for 10, 15 years and they don't know what to do about it. And then they contact you and they're like, well, it says this, and they're not up to speed on what should or anything. But some of these are such big contracts that folks on our team get, worried that if there's anything that would potentially make us not compliant, they want us to go ahead and do that. So I was leaning towards, going ahead and doing the plans and just so we have.
I mean, when in doubt, and of course, since you do the plans, it's like I don't see you having any real danger of coming in and saying, okay, here's our geographic area, Columbus, Ohio. Here's all these noses and everything. And here's where we are. Okay, what are you doing for hiring? We're setting a wide net and we are gathering up as many fish from across the entire state of Ohio.
Yeah.
Are you giving preferences? No, sir, we are not. No, we are not. You're going to spend a lot of labor probably for no reason, but just know, and I've never looked into it for Ohio, but I would be astonished if Ohio had its own affirmative action thing. And you are probably right that right now, this has all happened within 3 weeks or so.
Yeah.
It is like a hurricane has hit the entire country. We've lost our glasses, our hearing aids are out. We're not really sure what we're doing. We got a concussion. We're not sure what to do. And so what do? Well, let's keep doing what we're doing. And another thing to do would maybe be to contact your state senator. Hey,
part of it is we operate in almost all 50 states. So that's where we're just, facing it from a lot of different angles, and we'll be patient obviously and see how things play out. But to your point also earlier about, even good companies sometimes I think have unintentionally fallen into bad programming. And, there was a situation where my son applied for an internship or he was looking at this internship and reaching out to what was posted online. And they said, oh no, that's just only if you're a Black student. And because it said like, if you're a junior in this particular major, blah, blah, blah. And then when he dove in, they said, well, what race are you? And he was excluded from that. And so, you know, and this is a very well-known, reputable company. And so I don't always think it's, you know, intentional, but we do have a lot of situations where there's some unintended problems with the way things are structured. And, you know, I've been told we had a DEI consultant come in, and, you know, I had used the term, well, you know, we kind of just look at people as people, and being in HR, you know, we try and focus on qualifications and things like that. And I was told that was a microaggression, and that you could expect that an HR person would say something like that, but that's not right. And so,
well, how long have I known you? We're going on 30 years or something like this. And you're such an evil person. I mean, you do so many evil things. Yeah. You know, I'll tell you, because all these things just, you know, there's so many of them. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of contracts that are put out by the state of Ohio that I am not allowed to bid on because I'm white.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I've had contracts where I've actually finished the program, wrote it, and we're all done. And I get a call from somebody say, "Oh no, we need somebody who's a minority to teach this program." And I'm like, "Why? It's management training." Well, it's an MBE, Minority Business Enterprise. 15% of all of the contracts given out by the state have to go to someone who is minority. And that has been blatantly illegal since 2003. And the state of Ohio still does it to this day. Now, we got a great one here for you. Great advice here from Catherine. Contact the state attorney general's office. They'll let you know whether you have to do your affirmative action plan. Because how long does it take you to do that?
Oh, we outsource it. It takes a while for us to pull the data, and then also it's very expensive because we have so many different locations.
Yeah, Lynn works for a big organization. Okay, so yeah, you got a lot of noses to count.
Well, I don't mean to monopolize, but thank you so much, Scott. Always enjoy it, and hope you have a great Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Actually, I'll tell you right now, I have tickets. Ohio Stadium was selling tickets. You can go down and tour the stadium, and you can go and see all the trophies they won this year. So, yeah, a 3:30 appointment to head down there, Eastern Standard Time. So, woohoo! So, no, I will tell you, I just love this. You guys are just absolutely amazing. But this is the type of discussion we want, and it's okay to disagree. I think that's great. That's diversity of ideas. But we want to all work together for all humans. And honestly, think if we've been doing that for the last 10 years, there would be no executive orders against DEI. Because the illegal stuff is what gets you in trouble. Make sense? Is everybody good? Okay, go enjoy the rest of the day and your weekend. And hey, don't forget, treat each other like they're fellow humans, because they are. All right, everybody take care.